The market square of Thornhaven bustled with afternoon shoppers. But Lorena kept her head down, hood pulled low despite the warm autumn Sunday. 3 years of hiding had taught her that invisibility was survival. "Mama, I want the honey cakes." Mira's small voice pierced through the crowd noise, her 3-year-old enthusiasm impossible to contain. "Shh, little moon," Lorena whispered, tugging her daughter closer. "We buy only bread today." She felt the weight of eyes not unusual in a town where strangers stood out, but today something felt different. The air itself seemed charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. "Pretty lady needs no hood on such a fine day," the baker called out, his smile too interested, too familiar. Lorena grabbed the bread, tossing coins on the counter. "Thank you." She turned quickly, but Mira had already wandered 3 stalls away, drawn to a display of carved wooden wolves. "Mira!" Panic sharpened Lorena's voice. The crowd seemed to thicken, bodies pressing closer. Where was she? There her daughter's auburn hair, so like her own, bobbing between market-goers. But Mira had stopped, staring up at someone Lorena couldn't see. "Excuse me, mister." Mira's clear voice carried over the noise. "You have the same moon mark as my mama." The world stopped. Lorena pushed through the crowd, her heart hammering against her ribs. No, they'd been so careful. She'd hidden the crescent-shaped birthmark behind her left ear for 3 years, the mark that proclaimed her as something she'd tried to forget. Then she saw him. Corvus Blackstone, alpha of the Northern Ridge Pack, stood frozen before her daughter. 6.5 feet of lethal muscle and barely contained power. His presence made everyone nearby step back instinctively. His black hair fell to his shoulders, and his ice-blue eyes were fixed on Mira with an expression of absolute shock. The little girl, unaware of danger, reached up and tugged at his hand. "See? Right here. She," pointed innocently behind her own ear. "Mama has one just like yours. Are you family?" Corvus's entire body went rigid. His wolf, Lorena, could sense it even from 10 feet away, surged beneath his skin. Amber light flickered in his eyes for just a moment before he controlled it. But she knew that. Look. Recognition. Hunger. Claim. Their eyes met across the space. For 3 years, she'd run from what she was. For 3 years, she'd hidden from the mate bond she'd fled before it could destroy her. But Mira had just undone everything with 5 innocent words. Corvus took 1 step forward. Lorena grabbed Mira and ran. Lorena's feet pounded against cobblestones. Mira clutched against her chest. The child was crying now, confused and frightened by her mother's terror. "Mama, why are we running? The wolfman was nice." Wolfman. If only her daughter knew how accurate that description was. Behind them, Lorena heard nothing which terrified her more than pursuit would have. Corvus Blackstone didn't need to run through the streets causing chaos. He was alpha. He had been searching for her for 3 years, she realized. He'd have protocols in place. She ducked into an alley, then another, using the maze of Thornhaven's old quarter that she'd memorized for exactly this possibility. The abandoned mill house stood at the edge of town, their emergency shelter. She'd stashed supplies there months ago, money, clothes, dried food. "Almost there, my brave girl," she gasped, her arms burning from Mira's weight. The mill door hung crooked on its hinges. She pushed inside, setting Mira down to barricade the entrance with a broken beam. Her hands shook as she grabbed their emergency pack from behind loose floorboards. "Mama's scaring me," Mira whimpered, her golden brown eyes so like his eyes before the wolf rose filled with tears. Lorena knelt, cupping her daughter's face. "I'm sorry, baby. We're playing a hiding game, remember? Like we practiced?" Before Mira could answer, the temperature in the room dropped. "No need to hide, little one." The deep voice came from the shadows in the corner. "Though your mother calls you that too, I notice." Lorena spun, shoving Mira behind her. Corvus stepped into the dusty light streaming through broken windows. He'd changed from the formal alpha attire she'd glimpsed at the market into dark hunting clothes. This was the predator, not the politician. "How did I get here first?" His smile held no warmth. "I've searched every abandoned building within 100 miles these past 3 years, looking for my mate who disappeared the night before our bonding ceremony." "I'm not your mate," Lorena said, though the words tasted like ash. The pull between them was already reawakening. her wolf stirring after years of forced silence. Liar. He moved closer, each step deliberate. Your wolf recognizes mine. Even now, I can feel her calling. Stop. She pulled out the small silver knife from her boot silver, which burned. They're kind like acid but didn't kill unless it pierced the heart. I'll use this. His laugh was dark, rich. On me? Or on yourself? Because we both know you won't hurt the child, and those are your only options for keeping me away. Mama? Mira peeked around Lorana's legs. Is he really family? He smells like forest, like the dreams. Corvus's expression shifted, the hardness cracking as he looked at the little girl. Dreams? The wolf dreams, Mira said simply. With the big black wolf who watches us. Is that you? The blood drained from Lorana's face. Mira, no. You dream of me? Corvus's voice went deadly soft. A molten copper gaze snapped back to Lorana. She dreams of my wolf? This was the secret Lorana had buried deepest. That Mira, despite having a human father or so everyone believed, carried the gift of wolf dreams. The child was touched by moon magic, marked by it, though she'd never shifted. She's not yours, Lorana said desperately. No? Corvus knelt slowly, putting himself at Mira's eye level. The little girl, fearless as always, stepped closer. Tell me about your dreams, little one. The black wolf is sad, Mira whispered, as if sharing a secret. He looks for someone in the forest. Sometimes there's a silver wolf too, but she hides. Corvus's jaw clenched. The silver wolf, Lorana's wolf form, the one she'd suppressed for so long it physically hurt. Mira, we need to go. Lorana grabbed for her daughter's hand, but Corvus moved faster, not touching either of them, simply positioning himself between them and the door. 3 years, Lyra. 3 years of my wolf slowly going mad. The pack thinks I'm cursed, unable to find my moon-blessed mate. And here you are, hiding in my own territory. I'm not hiding from you, she snapped. I'm hiding from them. His eyes sharpened. Who? A howl split the air long, victorious, and far too close. Then another, and another. Lorana's legs nearly gave out. She knew those howls, would never forget them. The Razerclaw pack, she whispered. Corvus growled, the sound purely wolf. Kieran's mongrels? Here? They found us. She held Mira tighter. They always find us. Why? His question was a demand, but before she could answer, the door exploded inward. 3 wolves burst through the shattered doorway, scarred, massive, with the distinctive gray coats of Razerclaw hunters. Their eyes locked onto Lorana with savage triumph. Corvus moved so fast he blurred. One moment he stood human, the next, an enormous black wolf crashed into the lead attacker. The sound of impact echoed like thunder in the confined space. Mama! Mira screamed, burying her face in Lorana's shoulder. The second wolf lunged for them. Lorana's body moved on instinct, the silver knife flashing. The blade caught the wolf across the muzzle, sending it reeling with a pained yelp. Silver burned their kind, leaving scars that never fully healed. But the third wolf was already circling, smart enough to avoid Corvus's savage battle with its packmate. Its yellow eyes fixed on Mira with an intensity that made Lorana's maternal rage explode. You want her? Lorana's voice dropped to something primal. You'll have to go through me. Her wolf, suppressed for 3 agonizing years, ripped free. The transformation hurt bones snapping, reforming, muscles tearing and rebuilding. She denied this part of herself for so long that her wolf emerged vengeful and wild. Silver fur erupted across her body, as she became the thing she'd tried to forget. The Razerclaw wolf barely had time to react before she was on him, fury lending her strength. They rolled, snarling and snapping, crashing into walls. Through the chaos of battle, she heard Corvus a roar of pure rage as he tore through his opponent. An alpha in his full power was terrifying to behold. The Razerclaw wolves were large, but Corvus was massive, his black coat seeming to absorb light. Pretty wolf. Mira's delighted cry cut through everything. Lorana's wolf form spun to see her daughter reaching toward her with wonder, not fear. But that moment of distraction cost her. Teeth sank into her shoulder, dragging her down. The pain was excruciating. She twisted, trying to break free, but the Razerclaw wolf was heavier, stronger. Its teeth found her throat. A black mountain of rage slammed into her attacker. Corvus didn't just fight the wolf, he destroyed it. When he finally stepped back, the Razerclaw hunter didn't move again. Silence fell, broken only by harsh breathing. Corvus's wolf turned to her, and Laurana saw what 3 years had done to him. Beneath the alpha's power was something raw, wounded. His wolf had been searching, always searching, for its lost mate. She shifted back human, gasping at the pain in her shoulder. Blood seeped through her torn shirt. Corvus transformed beside her, immediately examining her wound with gentle fingers that contrasted sharply with the violence he'd just displayed. "Don't touch me," she whispered, but her protest was weak. "Stop being stubborn," he growled. "You're hurt. I've survived worse." Sunbright eyes blazed. "Not anymore. Not while I breathe." "Mama?" Mira stood in the corner, tears streaming down her face but chin lifted bravely. "Are the bad wolves gone?" "Yes, little moon." Laurana reached for her daughter with her good arm. "They're gone. But they'll send more," Corvus said grimly. He pulled off his shirt, pressing it against Laurana's wound. The skin-to-skin contact sent sparks through her system, their mate bond singing despite everything. "Why does Kieran want you?" Laurana closed her eyes. The truth she'd buried was clawing its way free. "Not me. Her." "Mira?" His voice went deadly. "Why would Razerclaw want a child?" "Because," Laurana's voice broke, "because Kieran believes she's his." The temperature dropped so fast, frost formed on the broken windows. "Explain." One word, filled with lethal promise. "Nearly 4 years ago, before I knew about being moon-blessed, before I knew about mates, Kieran tried to claim me. Not a true claim, I fought him off, but he bit me. Drew blood. I still bear his mark, a scar behind my shoulder. By pack law in Razerclaw territory, it made me his." Corvus's growl made the building shake. "I ran," she continued. "Found sanctuary with the Northern Ridge Pack. With you. When I discovered we were mates, I thought I was saved. But the night before our ceremony, Kieran sent a message. He'd challenge you for me. A blood challenge. To the death. I would have killed him. Or he would have killed you. Either way, I'd lose." She stroked Mira's hair as the child clung to her. "So I ran. I discovered I was pregnant a month later. Let everyone think it was from a human encounter. But when Mira was born with the moon gift..." "He thinks she's his," Corvus finished, understanding dawning. "But she's not. She can't be." "No," Laurana said softly. "She's yours. Born exactly 9 months after our last night. Together. When we couldn't wait for the ceremony," he finished, wonder replacing anger. "That night in the grove." "Mama needs bandages," Mira interrupted. Her practical 3-year-old mind focused on the immediate problem. "The bad wolves hurt her." Corvus lifted them both gently. "My pack house. We'll be safe there." "No," Lorena protested. "I can't bring this danger." "You're bringing our daughter home," he said firmly. "Where you both should have been all along." New howls erupted outside. Many howls. Kieran hadn't sent 3 wolves. He'd sent 30. "Up," Corvus commanded, lifting Laurana despite her protests. Her shoulder screamed in agony, but there was no time for pain. "Hold Mira." Through the broken windows, shapes moved in the deepening twilight. Too many shapes. "The underground," Laurana gasped. "The old mining tunnels. There's an entrance in the mill's basement." Corvus didn't question how she knew this. In 3 years of hiding, she'd mapped every escape route. He kicked aside rotted boards, revealing stone steps descending into darkness. "I can't see," Mira whimpered. "I've got you, brave girl." Corvus's voice gentled for the child. His eyes, wolf eyes, now glowed amber in the dark, providing just enough light. "Hold on to your mama and me." They descended into earth-scented blackness. Above, the thunder of paws on wood announced the Razerclaw pack's arrival. Snarls and frustrated howls echoed as they found the mill empty. "They'll track our scent," Laurana whispered. "Let them try." Corvus navigated the tunnels with surprising confidence. "These connect to the old pack grounds. My territory. How do you..." 3 years of searching taught me every hidden path. Every possible place you might hide. Every route you might take if you ran again. The pain in his voice cut deeper than claws. They moved through winding passages, some so narrow Corvus had to turn sideways. Mira stayed silent, her little fingers gripping tight. Such bravery in someone so small. After 20 minutes, fresh air touched their faces. Corvus paused at a metal grate covering the tunnel exit, listening. Then he pushed it aside, lifting them into moonlight. They emerged in a grove of age-old oaks, their massive trunks silver in the moon's glow. Sacred ground, Laurana felt it immediately. Primordial magic hummed here, wolf magic from centuries past. The Moon Grove, she breathed. She'd heard of it but never seen it, where Northern Ridge alphas brought their mates for the bonding ceremony, where she should have stood 3 years ago. Fitting, isn't it? Corvus set her down carefully, though his arm remained around her waist. We've come full circle. Howls erupted from the tunnel. Razerclaw had found their trail, but answering howls rose from the forest. Dozens of them, Northern Ridge wolves, responding to their alpha's call. Your pack, Laurana said. Our pack, he corrected. If you'll stop running long enough to accept it. Dark. Forms melted from between the trees. Massive wolves, healthy and strong, nothing like Razerclaw's scarred hunters. They formed a protective circle, facing outward, ready for battle. Through the tunnel grate, Razerclaw wolves began emerging only to freeze as they realized where they were. Sacred ground, neutral territory by timeless law. Violence here would curse the aggressor. A final wolf emerged, larger than the rest, gray-white with a scarred muzzle. It shifted, becoming a man Laurana had hoped never to see again. Kieran Razerclaw stood naked and unashamed, his body a roadmap of violence. A strange silver scar marked his left shoulder. Dark eyes fixed on Laurana with possessive hunger. Hello, little Silver. His voice was rough, cruel. You've led me on quite a chase. She's not yours, Kieran. Corvus stepped forward, power radiating from every line of his body. Isn't she? Kieran smiled, revealing teeth too sharp for human form. I marked her, drew blood, by old law. Your mark means nothing. Corvus's voice carried alpha command. She bears the moon blessing. She's my fated mate. Fated? Kieran laughed. If she was truly yours, she wouldn't have run, would she? The words hit their target. Laurana felt Corvus tense beside her. Mama, Mira whispered suddenly, her voice strange. The ugly man feels wrong. Every wolf present turned to the child. There was something in her voice authority that shouldn't exist in someone barely 3 years old. Kieran's eyes narrowed. My daughter. Come here, pup. No. Mira pressed closer to Laurana. You're not my papa. You smell like old blood and mean things. Children can be taught. Kieran stepped forward, but Northern Ridge wolves growled warning. Give me what's mine, Corvus, and we leave peacefully. Nothing here is yours. Corvus's control was fraying. His wolf wanted blood. No? Kieran's smile widened. Then let's settle this properly. Challenge rights. You and me. Winner takes the woman and child. No! Lyrena surged forward, but Corvus caught her. Accepted, he said. The grove went silent. Even the wind stopped. Don't, Lyrena pleaded. This is what I was trying to prevent. I can't lose you. Corvus cupped her face with surprising gentleness. You already did lose me, Lyra. 3 years ago, when you left, you took half my soul. I won't survive losing you again. How touching. Kieran was already shifting, his wolf form emerging scarred, vicious, experienced in killing. But Corvus didn't shift. Instead, he pulled Laurana close, pressing his forehead to hers. Trust me, he whispered. Then louder, for everyone to hear. Before we fight, Kieran, there's something you should know. Stalling won't save you. Not stalling. Informing. Corvus straightened. Mira isn't your daughter. She can't be. Lies. Truth. She was born exactly 9 months after the Grove ceremony preparations. After Laurana and I. He let the implication hang. She's mine. But more than that, Mira carries. The Alpha bloodline. My bloodline. She's the first Alpha-born female in 3 centuries. The Grove erupted in whispers. An Alpha-born female was legend, prophecy. Prove it, Kieran snarled. And in that moment, as if responding to the challenge, Mira's eyes blazed with luminous power. Energy, timeless and undeniable, pulsed from the tiny child. "My papa," she said clearly, looking at Corvus with eyes that held eternity, "is here." Her small hand rose, pointing at Corvus. Where her finger aimed, a silver crescent appeared on his forehead, the mate mark manifesting visibly for all to see. The same mark appeared behind Laurana's ear, glowing through her hair, and on Mira's palm, both marks combined into something new, a full moon. The prophecy child had awakened. The luminous power fading from Mira's eyes seemed to break whatever restraint held Kieran back. His wolf form lunged, not at Corvus, but at the child. "No!" Laurana screamed, but Corvus was already moving. The collision of the Plate and Ender 6011 and Corvus, two alphas, shook the sacred grove. Age-old oaks groaned as bodies slammed into trunks. This wasn't a formal challenge anymore, this was primal rage. "Take her," Corvus roared to his pack as he grappled with Kieran. "Protect them both." Two female wolves immediately flanked Laurana and Mira. She recognized one Thessa, the Northern Ridge beta female. Instead of fleeing, Laurana stood her ground, watching the brutal fight. Kieran was vicious, experienced in dirty combat. His teeth found Corvus's flank, tearing deep. Blood splattered the sacred ground, dark in the moonlight. But Corvus was younger, stronger, and fighting for more than dominance. He was fighting for family. "Papa!" Mira suddenly broke free, running toward the battle. "Mira, no!" The child stopped between the fighting wolves, her small form insignificant compared to their mass. Yet her voice carried impossible authority. "Stop hurting." Both alphas froze mid-strike. Not by choice, Laurana saw their muscles straining against invisible bonds. Amber brilliance filled Mira's eyes, brighter than before. "My brave girl." Laurana approached carefully. "Let them go." "No." The power in Mira's voice made the ground tremble. "The bad one hurt you before. Before I was born, I remember." Kieran's wolf eyes widened. The child couldn't possibly remember. She hadn't even been born when he'd attacked Laurana. "I dream, remember," Mira continued, her toddler vocabulary struggling with concepts beyond her years. Mama's fear, her pain, the first baby that went away. The grove went deathly silent. Laurana's legs nearly buckled. The secret she'd never told anyone, not even herself fully acknowledged. Before Mira, there had been another pregnancy. Corvus's child, conceived that stolen night, lost when Kieran's assault had damaged more than just her spirit. "You were pregnant," Corvus's voice, human now though he remained in wolf form, was raw with anguish. "When you ran, you were already—" "I lost it the night Kieran attacked," Laurana whispered. "I thought the moon had cursed us for acting before the ceremony. Then when Mira came, I couldn't risk losing another." Kieran shifted human, fighting against Mira's hold. "Lies. The child is mine by right of—" "You have no rights." Mira's power flared. Kieran screamed, clutching his scarred shoulder. The silver scar, an old mark from his crimes, split open, bleeding silver instead of red. "Moon remembers all the bad things, all the girls you hurt." This was no 3-year-old speaking. This was something timeless using her as a vessel. "The alpha female," Thessa breathed. "The prophecy. When the moon bleeds silver and wolves forget their way, the alpha female will rise to restore the sacred laws." "Release him, little one," Corvus said gently, still pinned but calm. "Let me finish this properly." Mira looked at him, her expression heartbreakingly adult. "You won't kill. You're good." "No," Corvus agreed, "but he needs to answer for his crimes." The child considered, then nodded. The invisible bonds released. Kieran immediately lunged for Laurana, desperation making him reckless, but she was ready. Her silver knife, still coated with wolfsbane from earlier, found its mark, his thigh, the poison ensuring he couldn't shift to heal. He collapsed, howling in rage and pain. By pack law, Corvus stood human now, blood running from wounds but authority unshaken. "I call for judgment." Kieran Razerclaw stands accused of forced marking, assault on a moon-blessed mate, and the death of an unborn alpha heir. "You have no proof," Kieran snarled. "The moon itself is proof." Corvus gestured to Mira. "The alpha female has spoken your crimes. Your own mark bleeds silver because the moon remembers. The Razerclaw wolves, who had watched in growing horror, began backing away. Even they wouldn't follow someone marked by Moon's justice. Kieran Razerclaw, Corvus continued formally, you are hereby exiled from all pack territories. Any wolf who aids you shares your curse. This isn't over. Kieran struggled to his feet, the wolfsbane making him weak. The old laws are why you're still breathing, Corvus growled. Leave, now. Kieran limped toward the forest, abandoned by his pack. At the tree line, he turned back, eyes finding Laurana with hatred that promised return. Then he was gone. The grove exhaled collectively. Mira swayed, the amber brilliance fading completely. Mama? She said in her normal voice. Sleepy. Laurana caught her as she collapsed, the child's body burning with fever from channeling power too vast for her small form. She's too young. Thessa shifted human, immediately checking the child. Her body can't handle that level of moon magic yet. Will she be all right? Corvus knelt beside them, wounds still bleeding but ignored. She needs pack healers. Now. Corvus lifted Mira gently while Laurana swayed on her feet. I can walk. No. He adjusted to support her too. You've walked alone. 3 years. Let me carry you both. The pack won't accept me, she protested weakly. I ran from their alpha, denied them their Luna. Look, Corvus said softly. The Northern Ridge wolves had formed a circle, but facing inward, heads lowered in submission. To her, to Mira. They've been waiting for you to come home, Corvus murmured. We all have. As they moved toward pack territory, Laurana felt something she hadn't experienced in 3 years. Safety, but also terror, because now she had everything to lose. Corvus, she whispered as the pack house came into view. There's more. About why Kieran won't give up. His arms tightened. Tell me. The alpha female prophecy. Mira isn't just meant to restore laws. She's meant to unite all packs under moon law. If he controls her, he controls every pack, Corvus finished grimly. That's why you ran. Not just from him or me, but from her destiny. She's 3 years old. Laurana's voice broke. How can she carry that? She won't. Not alone. Corvus pressed a kiss to her forehead as pack members rushed to help. We're together now. All 3 of us. But as healers took Mira, her small hand fell open. On her palm, the full moon mark had turned black, a sign that darker forces than Kieran were stirring. The pack house infirmary smelled of sage and wolfsbane healing and poison balanced carefully. Lorena hadn't left Mira's side in 2 days. The child's fever raged while the moon mark on her palm shifted between black and silver like a living thing. You need rest, Corvus said from the doorway. He'd stood guard, letting her have space while ensuring no one disturbed them. I can't. Lirana smoothed Mira's damp hair. What if she needs me? She'll need you strong, not exhausted. He entered, carrying food. Eat, please. The simple domesticity, the alpha serving her, broke something inside her. Tears she'd held for 3 years finally fell. I'm sorry, she sobbed. For running. For hiding her. For the baby we lost. Corvus set the tray aside and pulled her close. Stop. You survived. You kept our daughter safe. That's everything. Our daughter, she repeated wonderingly. You truly knew? My wolf knew the moment she called me Wolfman. Something in me recognized her. The way she tilts her head when curious, pure Blackstone trait. Papa? They turned. Mira's eyes were open, clear brown again. Little one. Lirana rushed over, checking her temperature. Normal. The mark on her palm had settled to silver with just a thread of black through it. Had dream talks, Mira said, her voice thoughtful for a 3-year-old. With the moon lady. What did she say? Corvus asked gently. Bad things coming. Need wolf families together. Her expression turned serious beyond her years. Uncle coming too. Lirana exchanged glances with Corvus. Uncle? A knock interrupted. Alpha! Thessa's voice called urgently. We have visitors. Corvus opened the door. His beta looked troubled. Scouts report. 3 packs approaching our borders. Kieran? No. He's fled north to rogue territory. These are Black Moon from the east, Silvercrest from the south, Ironpaw from the west. all requesting formal audience. 3 major packs? Corvus tensed. They haven't gathered in 50 years. They're not threatening, Thessa added. They claim they're here about the alpha female prophecy. Word has spread about the grove. Mira sat up. They're supposed to come, Moon Lady said. Everyone stared at the child. My brave girl, Lirana said carefully. What exactly did the moon tell you? Wolf families forgot how to be together. Family. Need reminding. She looked at Corvus. Papa helps. Mama too. Another knock. Alpha! This voice was panicked. The Eastern Pack is at the gates. Their Alpha demands entry. Demands? Corvus growled. He says he's here for his sister. Lirana's blood turned to ice. No. Your brother? Corvus turned to her. You said you had no pack. I thought he died. My whole pack. When I was 16, rogues attacked. I was the only survivor. That's how I ended up in Razerclaw territory, vulnerable to Kieran. She stood shakily. If Marcus survived, then you're not just moon-blessed, Thessa breathed. You're Black Moon Alpha bloodline, moon-blessed and alpha-born, mated to another alpha, producing the prophecy child, Corvus finished. This was always meant to happen. Bring him in, Corvus commanded. Carefully. Minutes later, footsteps echoed. Lorena gripped Corvus's hand as the door opened. The man who entered was unmistakably her brother, same silver eyes, same auburn hair, but marked by years of hardship. Scars covered half his face. Silver weapon burns marked his arms wounds from the attack she'd fled from. Lyra? His voice broke. Marcus! She flew into his arms. I thought the rogues killed you. Almost did. Black Moon Patrol found me dying. But you'd vanished. He pulled back, studying her. I searched everywhere, even heard rumors about a silver wolf in Razerclaw territory. But Kieran swore he'd never seen you. The rogues burned our pack house. I thought you died in the flames. He lied, Corvus said flatly. He'd already forced. Marcus's expression went lethal. Where is he? Exiled. The alpha female passed judgment. Marcus noticed Mira for the first time. His eyes widened. The prophecy child? She's yours? Ours, Lirena corrected, taking Corvus's hand. Marcus, meet Corvus Blackstone, my mate. And this is Mira. Hi, Uncle, Mira waved. You look different, not furry. Marcus blinked. How did you? She dreams true, Corvus explained. The moon speaks through her. Then the prophecy is real. Marcus turned urgent. The other alphas aren't here to challenge. They're here because their seers have been having visions. Something's coming. Something that threatens all packs. What? Corvus demanded. The old enemy. Hunters who use silver and mountain ash. The ones who nearly destroyed us centuries ago. Marcus's scarred face was grim. They're organizing again. My scouts report new weapons. They call it a purge. No, Lorana whispered. Modern weapons could devastate packs. That's why Moon, Lady woke me, Mira said suddenly. To make wolf families remember they're stronger together. Commotion erupted outside, howls, snarls, combat sounds. Attack! Someone screamed. Hunters at the north gate. Corvus shifted instantly, his massive black wolf filling the room. Marcus followed, a large silver-gray wolf. Stay here, Lirana ordered Mira, but the child shook her head. Have to help, Moon says. Before Lirana could stop her, Mira ran toward the battle. Lorena shifted and raced after her, Corvus and Marcus flanking them. They burst into chaos. Hunters in tactical gear fired nets made of silver wire. Wolves screamed as metal burned their skin. Others lay unconscious from tranquilizer darts. At the center stood a figure in black armor, holding a staff, crackling with electricity and silver. Darius Thorn, Marcus growled in wolf form. The Hunter Prime. He killed our parents. The man smiled coldly. The Black Moon whelp survived. Good. I can finish what I started. His eyes found Mira. And there's the abomination. The prophecy child who thinks she can unite the mongrels. He raised his weapon toward the little girl. Everything happened simultaneously. Corvus and Marcus lunged. Lirena screamed. Pack members rushed forward. But Mira simply raised her small hand. The hunter's weapon exploded. He flew backward into a tree. "No hurting families," Mira said, her voice carrying otherworldly authority. Power radiated from her, not just moon magic, but something primordial. The earth itself responded. Every hunter's weapon simultaneously malfunctioned. Silver nets dissolved, guns jammed. The alpha female had awakened fully, but the power cost too much. Mira's eyes rolled back. She collapsed. As Lorena caught her, Darius Thorne laughed, despite his injuries. "You think you've won?" He coughed blood. "This was just a scouting party. The full army comes at the new moon. 500 hunters with weapons blessed by 3 faiths, Christian, Jewish, and Islamic prayers against your kind. Your abomination just signed every wolf's death warrant. The new moon 3 days away, the other pack alphas emerged from the forest, having witnessed everything. The child is real," Fenris of Ironpaw said, awe in his voice. "As is the threat," Senna of Silvercrest added. "Then we stand together," Marcus declared, "or we all fall." The black thread in Mira's palm mark pulsed darker, spreading slightly a sign that time was running short. The Great Hall of Northern Ridge had never held so many alphas. 7 pack leaders sat around the oak table, their combined presence making the air crackle. Corvus stood at the head with Lorana beside him. None questioned her presence, not after witnessing Mira's power. 500 hunters, Fenris said grimly. "Even united, we're outnumbered. We don't need to match them," Marcus countered. "We need to outthink them." "With what army?" Senna asked. "Combined, we have maybe 200 fighters." "The children and elders evacuate," Lirana said. "The mountain caves to the north are defensible." "Abandon our territory?" Fenris growled. "To survive," Lirana replied. "Pride means nothing if we're extinct." "She's right," Corvus said. "But we're not just running. We turn their attack into their destruction." "How?" a small voice answered. "Together." Mira stood in her nightgown at the doorway, looking every inch the toddler she was, except for her ancient eyes. "My brave girl, you should rest." Lirena started toward her. "Moon doesn't rest when babies need help," Mira said, approaching the table. Despite her size, every alpha stood. "You think separate, but we're one family that forgot." "Unity is more than words, little one," Senna said gently. Mira smiled. "Yes, it's this." She held out her palm with the moon mark. "Who shares?" Silence. "You want us to blood bond?" Marcus asked. "That hasn't been done in 3 centuries. Because you forgot, but Moon Lady showed me. Blood bonds meant shared strength, shared communication, but also shared vulnerability." Corvus knelt first. "Show me." Mira traced a symbol on his palm, not cutting, just tracing. Yet a silver line appeared, painless but permanent. One by one, the alphas accepted the mark. When done, Mira placed her palm on the table. By moon and blood, 7 becomes 1 until danger goes away. The marks flared. Suddenly, Lorana could feel them all, every alpha's presence in her mind. Not thoughts, but awareness. "Incredible," Thessa breathed. "Now we plan," Mira said, swaying. Corvus caught her gently. The next 2 days blurred. Evacuations began immediately. Non-fighters moved to Lorana's caves. Every pack contributed warriors, creating a force of 180 wolves. "The sacred grove," Lorana suggested during planning. "Where the ley lines converge. Moon magic is strongest there." "Fight on sacred ground?" Fenris questioned. "Where our power peaks and their technology fails," she explained. "Mira showed us moon magic disrupts their weapons." "It's sacrilege," Senna protested. "These are humans bent on genocide," Corvus said firmly. "The old laws don't protect them." As the new moon rose or didn't rise, leaving darkness, scouts reported movement, hunters approaching from 3 directions. "Everyone ready?" Corvus asked the assembled wolves. Nods all around. They would funnel hunters to the grove, seeming to flee while actually controlling the battlefield. "What about Mira?" someone asked. "I'll be where needed," Mira said firmly, standing between her parents despite looking impossibly small. "Little Moon, if something happens," Lirana began. "Won't," Mira said confidently. "Dream," Lady promised. "We win. But first, be brave." How did I get such a wise daughter? Mira grinned normally. Good mama and papa. Corvus wrapped them both close. Whatever comes, we're together. Always, Lorana whispered. The first explosion shattered the night. Hunters had arrived. Now! Corvus shifted, racing to position. Lorana grabbed Mira, running for the grove. Behind them, battle erupted snarls, screams, gunfire. The sacred oaks loomed ahead, glowing faintly even in moonless darkness. Entering the grove, Lorana felt its ley lines pulsing beneath her feet. Here, Mira pointed to the center stone. Hunters burst through trees, weapons raised. Darius Thorn led them, armor repaired, carrying a blade gleaming with silver, iron, and mountain ash. The woman and child, he shouted. Blessed by 3 faiths, Thorn said, raising the blade. Even moon magic can't stop this. Mira stepped forward, touching the center stone. Wrong. The grove exploded with light. Not moonlight, this was earthlight, starlight, lifelight itself. It poured through Mira from the ley lines. Every hunter's weapon turned to dust. Armor crumbled. Electronics died, but wolves were still falling. Too many hunters, even unarmed. Not enough, Lorana despaired. Then howls from the north. Dozens of them. Rogues poured into the grove, led by a scarred figure. Kieran had returned, but instead of attacking packs, his rogues fell upon hunters. Enemy of my enemy, Kieran called out, tearing through hunters. The child was right. We're one family, even the lost. The tide turned instantly. Hunters fled or fell. Darius Thorn stood alone, blessed blade intact. Still think you've won? He snarled, lunging for Mira. 3 bodies intercepted Corvus, Marcus, and Kieran. The blade pierced Kieran's chest as his jaws found Thorn's throat. Both fell dying. Why? Lorana knelt beside Kieran. Child. Offered redemption. In dreams. He gasped. Said even, lost wolves. 2 can come home. He died as the first sliver of new moon appeared. Remaining hunters had fled or surrendered. The packs had won, united by a 3-year-old's wisdom. Dawn found Mira standing in the grove center, surrounded by wolves from 8 packs, including redeemed rogues. Moon Lady is happy, she announced. Family is whole again. The black thread in her palm mark had vanished completely, leaving only pure silver, but Lorana knew this was just the first test. The mark would darken again when the next threat arose. 6 months later, the United Pack territory had transformed. Where once stood separate compounds, now paths connected all settlements. Wolves from different packs mingled freely, their children playing together. Lorana stood on the council hall balcony, watching preparations below. Tonight's full moon would mark the first unity celebration. Mira's idea, naturally. Thinking too hard again. Corvus's arms encircled her from behind. Just remembering, she murmured. 6 months ago, I was alone, terrified, certain I'd never see you again. And now? She turned, smiling. Now, I'm Luna to 8 united packs. Thanks to our daughter. Below, Mira raced through the courtyard with other young wolves. Her laughter rang out as Marcus, in silver wolf form, playfully chased them. She seems normal, Lorana said with relief. After the battle, they'd worried the moon magic would consume her childhood. But Mira had found balance, the otherworldly wisdom only surfacing when needed. As normal as an alpha-born moon-blessed child can be, Corvus agreed. Though Thessa mentioned she's been teaching other children dream interpretation. Of course she has. Fenris approached, red hair bright in afternoon Sunday. The rogues have arrived. They're nervous. The surviving rogues who'd fought beside them had formed their own pack under Kieran's former beta, Ash. They were still finding their place. They're welcome, Corvus said firmly. Kieran's sacrifice earned them that. Mira insists on honoring him tonight. Fenris added carefully. She wants to name a star. Lorana's throat tightened. The wolf who'd tormented her had died protecting her daughter. The moon's mysteries ran deep. Let her, she said. Redemption deserves remembering. Evening fell, and wolves gathered from all territories. The memorial grove, formerly Sacred Grove, had been decorated with lights. At its center stood a new monument, 8 stones circling a smaller central stone for Mira. "Welcome, family," Mira called out, standing on a platform. She wore a white dress with moonflowers in her hair, looking achingly normal. "Tonight we celebrate not winning, but being together." Howls rose in agreement. "We remember the lost," she continued, her young voice carrying surprising authority, "and honor those who found their way back to light." She pointed skyward where the full moon had risen. Beside it, a bright star gleamed. "For Kieran Razerclaw," she announced, "who remembered love at the end." Even former Razerclaw wolves howled approval. The celebration began dancing, feasting, stories shared between packs who'd been strangers 6 months ago. Young wolves from different packs already forming bonds that would shape the next generation. "Dance with me," Marcus appeared at Lorana's elbow. Her brother had stayed, becoming Corvus's second beta, bridging packs. As they danced, he said quietly, "Mom and Dad would be proud. You didn't just survive, you brought us all together." "Mira brought us together," she corrected. "Mira's the catalyst. You and Corvus are the foundation." Later, as celebration continued, Lorana found herself at the monument with Corvus and Mira. "Dreams are quiet now," Mira said sleepily, leaning against her father. "Moon Lady says her work is done for now." "For now?" Lorana asked. Mira smiled mysteriously, far too knowing for a 3-year-old. "Always more work, but not today. Today we're just happy." Corvus lifted her onto his shoulders, and together they walked back to the celebration. Their pack, all 8 branches, welcomed them with joyous howls. The lonely woman who'd hidden in shadows was gone. In her place stood a Luna, a mother, a mate. The moon had taken everything only to return it threefold. Above, the full moon seemed to smile, silver light blessing the united packs. The prophecy was fulfilled, but their story, their family's story, had just begun. In the distance, a wolf howled, then another, and another. Not warning or challenge, but celebration. The wolves had remembered their way home. And at the grove's heart, Mira's palm showed only smooth skin, now the moon's work complete until the next time darkness threatened her children. But tonight, there was only light, love, and the promise of pack, forever and always.